Hello friends, today I am going to discuss about the continuous integration tool, that is Jenkins. Now the question is, what is Jenkins and why Jenkins? And you might be aware that in your development, when you are making commit any code and it is going to deploy automatically by Jenkins, it's all going to take care of it, right? You don't have to build that. So these tools, it's making everything automated, and you have used in your QA or production environment in the Unix environment. Today I'm going to discuss with the Windows environment. And first you need to download the Jenkins from the jenkins.io. Okay. Here is the picture for the power of Jenkins. So when you are committing your code in the GitHub, that is repository, so you can integrate with the repository. So what is going to automate? It's a build, compile, test, and give that. If your compile getting failure, then developer also notified that it is failed, and it will give the status as a red. If it is successful, then also developer notified that build is successful. So you will have lot of advantage using Jenkins. Okay, let me check one by one. What is the continuous integration tool? Now on behalf of developer, it will do all the pre-processed tasks like compile, test, and deploy. Jenkins is server based system. It commit all the developer work, means after coding moving to repository. From repository it can be Git, it can be SVN. We can make the build, and build process can be done with either Maven or Ant or Gradle. Now the question is that build and compile. At the time of build, it will compile my code, and using continuous integration these steps can be performed, so you don't have to do any manual work. And if there is any error, it will be identified and it will be mailed to the developer. Now you can see that is what is Jenkins. Jenkins is a continuous integration tool used to build, compile, test code and deploy it to the production. Jenkins provides hundreds of plugins to support building, deploying, and automate any project. It's a server based system and runs on the server containers such as Apache Tomcat. It supports version control like SVN Git. So I am favorable with the Git and I am using GitHub. And what is continuous integration? Continuous integration is a process in which all the development work is integrated as early as possible. The resulting artifacts are automatically created and tested. This process allows to identify the error and also notify the developer if there is any issue. Now, what was the problem before continuous integration? Suppose you commit. Popular developer will commit their code into the code repository. Build. Next level, it will build and by Maven and test, and if the build is successful, then it will go to the test environment. If it is failure, it will bug will be identified, right? So see, so you are committing code here repository, and our difficult integration for different commit, and after that it will going to the later it will going to the tester. Okay, so tester identify that bug and again notify the developer. Now the question is that whose commit has created this bug, right? We don't know. Like hundreds of developer has changed the same file, so it's very difficult task. Now for the continuous, what happened? Like every build, every code after code committing in a repository, and if it is Jenkins, it's automatically started building that code, deployed in the server, get the status, and giving back to you about the status. Then you don't have to wait for this long process, right? So this problem has been solved. Otherwise what happened, like we can't imagine like hundreds of developer working on the same branch and same file changing or any other file has that effect, and it's everything going into happy path. There is no world without bug in the environment, right? So that's why tester team existing. So the problem like what's the problem in the above process? If any failure in the test result, then developer has to check the entire code, like where is that issue, like which developer's commit has made that. So it's a nightmare. So multiple commit, developer A, B, C, D has made that commit. Then they have the parallel working and changing the same file. Who is the culprit? We don't know. Identify failed commit. Need to identify whose commit has made this fail, test case fail. So to identify it, to fix that bug, these things can be optimized by Jenkins. It's a continuous integrations. Otherwise, you will be like this developer, right? It's not like it's a code is work is developer like this. You might face this similar situation, right? Like every have to check the entire code. So it automate the process that Jenkins, and it reduce that unnecessary task, right? Redundant task. So what's the advantage for this continuous integration release? If there is any fail in the last build, it will notify it, right? If no failure, it will directly go for the release. Okay. uh, and where is the release? So if it is directly going for the release, that's everything is okay. And so developer no need to wait for the test result at the time of committing, right? It's just a deploy, this a build deployed in the server, and the sanity test and failure, it will check and notify that it's fine. And this is the way. So multiple developer committing, after each commit build test deploy, and if it's a fine, and then it will and with delta change, it will every delta change it will start this process. This is the continuous integration process. If it is a done, then it's a notified is the success or the failure. So this is the way uh, Jenkins following. Now what's the new process? It's the continuous integration. So it will compile, build, and unit testing. If pass, it will go to the next environment like QA. If fail, developer will be notified. Now how the picture is? Suppose you have written your code in Eclipse or anything, STS, Spring Boot tool suites, you have done code and unit testing in your local environment. But this is you are doing at your local environment where hundreds of developer has made tested different scenario and different use case. So one use case can affect other use case, right? So they are committing. So you are committing to the repository. So once your local code will commit, it's integrate with that repository, and it's the delta chain then trigger the compile, build, unit test. If it is a failure, then you are being notified with that stack trace, right? If it's a pass, then it's a packaging and test and the full applications. It's a QA test. It's a QA build. QA can start testing on that server, right? It's everything packaged done, and it's completed and deployed in the server, and now QA can start the testing. After QA fine, then it's a release and deploy. So this is the process. Now what's the issue? Before continuous integration, entire source code was built and then tested. But after continuous integration, every commit made in the source code is built and tested, right? And it's a delta change, and the delta and the build also done, and developer have to wait for the test results before the continuous. Here you developers know the test result of every commit made in the source code on the run, and feedback you will get instantly, right? Say after build time. So other earlier it was everything was the manual process. Now we have that automated process in the integration environment. Now Jenkins installation process I am going to show. So this so far I have discussed about the theoretical, right? Now I will going to do that, download the jar file uh, from Jenkins website, and then running the Jenkins. Finally it will show that it's running, right? And then plugin also installed. So going to the website, you will choose the long-term support. I will not choose the short-term here. And Windows, I just download that Java package, okay, war. And how do you run it? Java minus jar jenkins.war. And after that you will find that secret password here, and it's also stored in your local environment with the text initial admin password. And I will copy that, and by default port is the 8080. We need internet connection to have the plugin downloaded and installed in the Jenkins. Default port is the 8080. You can change it later. And so copy that and go to web browser, right, localhost 8080, and put that password. You will see that that option that installed all that suggested plugin or plugin selected. I will do like all that suggested plugin. It will uh, git pipeline, all that necessary plugin will download it, and you need to have the internet connection. And so after complete that, what you are going to do, you are getting the page where you have to register, right? I will register here with the email ID, name, so everything. So here is the configuration. I use that 8080. I don't want to change. Okay. So after select it, start using Jenkins, you will see the dashboard here. Here I don't have any job. Later I will, in the next tutorial, GitHub integration will be covered, right? And so from GitHub it will take that code and build integrations. Okay, so this way we can complete that Jenkins part, like how to use that. Here I have just shown like how to install and showing into the dashboard. Okay, hope you are enjoying. Thank you very much.